Good morning. This is Inside the FLX from FingerLakes1.com, our Tuesday live edition. I'm Ted Baker, and we're joined by our friends from Seneca County Cooperative Extension today. Patti Paine is here, Candace Riegel, and Judy Wright. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks.
Let's start with Candace, a little bit of farm to school. Now, when we met last, we knew that March was going to be potato month, but you can't have a March in New York State without some maple, too.
Yeah, so we ended up doing potatoes in January, and then we had
that's
cabbage.
in January, okay.
Yeah, and then we had cabbage for February, and now March, it's like the perfect time of year when sugar makers are just starting to get out there with the weather kind of warming up a little bit during the day, so it's our maple syrup month. So in our schools, they're having local maple syrup, and we are doing different kind of lessons and programs around how to make maple syrup and what it looks like, what the process is, and Maple Weekend is coming up. I think it's the first one's this weekend, and then the next one's next weekend. So we're trying to get that out to kids so that they can go see it in person, and then we're doing some after-school lessons where we're doing like pancakes with local grains and maple syrup, and then they get to try the different products. So. And
this weather right now is pretty good, right? You want cold nights, warm days like we're going to have for the next couple is just exactly what you want, right?
Yes, exactly. So the sap only runs when it's warm enough during the day to get it running, and then it gets cold at night, back under below freezing. And so, yeah, this is the perfect time that they're out there making their new batch for this year. So it's the perfect time to talk to the kids about it.
So we know maple syrup as our pancake or waffle topping. Are there some foods that you make with maple syrup that you have on the agenda?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, of course, like the baked goods, you can use it in there as like a substitute of sugar or honey. But then you can do we do a glazed ham. Instead of using honey, you can do maple syrup glazed ham. So you can do it on different kinds of meats. But then you can do roasted veggies, Brussels sprouts, carrots, and different root crops where you just do a maple glaze, and then it kind of gets candied in the oven. So yeah, you can do a lot of different stuff with maple syrup.
So what's on tap? Oh, of course.
Of course, can't forget the ice cream.
Yeah, I put it in my cream of wheat.
Yeah.
Sometimes honey, sometimes maple.
Yeah, oatmeal, yogurt. Yeah, you can use it as kind of just that natural sweetener on a lot of stuff instead of sugar. Yeah.
So what's on the agenda for April?
So April is, I think we are onto protein. So then we'd focus on local meats, your beef, your chicken that you can get from a lot of great local farms around here. But then we also do a veggie protein, so your local beans. And we have a couple places around here too that grow local beans. So we try to focus on some of those recipes for April and just teaching kids about the raising of animals and just the harvesting of beef, and especially small farms. It's a lot better quality for the animals, their care and everything like that, and a lot better nutritious product too as well.
So now that you've been doing this for a while, do you have any kind of studies or even just anecdotal evidence that kids are changing their ideas at home of what they eat and looking for a more diverse group of foods when they choose their own food? I think
so. I know there's been some research done where kids are, with what's come about from farm to school, they're more willing to try and grow their own food and try new foods. But I think just from seeing what we've done in classes and what we've done in after school, that they come back and talk to us, that they've talked to their parents at home, they've asked them to buy new things at the store. I think that shows that kids are getting just a little bit more of their voice of where they want to see where it's coming from, or if they want to take part in growing anything or visiting a farm to get that product. Yeah, so I think so.
Now tell us about the farm to school seed starter kits in their own recyclable bag.
Yeah, so we call them farm to school kits because they're part of our farm to school program, but it's kind of a collaboration between all of our program areas. So our horticulture, our 4-H, and our nutrition program, it's all kind of comes together and we all work on it. But this year, this is our third year, and it's popular demand, so we keep doing it. We have a lot of people that love to register, and they like to take this on in the spring. But this year we have, let's see if I can remember our list. Patty and I were just talking about this. It's cherry tomatoes, bush beans, basil, zucchini. Let's see, check out seed potatoes is the new one this year. We're actually going to grab some seed potatoes from Sodders so that they can start their own and see how that works. I don't think many kids have actually done maybe the seed potatoes before. They've done a lot of growing your normal vegetables, but that'll be our one new one. And then we have zinnias and flowers, and our Master Gardener program is a big part of it these past couple of years, where they've helped us get the different kinds of seeds and include the flowers, just because the kids love, they like growing the vegetables and picking those, but they love to see the flowers out there blooming in their garden too. So
I remember when I was a little kid, we planted some kind of beans. I don't remember, and it was fun just because they come up really fast. And then being the competitive little kids that we were, it's a race, You come in each day and see who's as highest up and everything.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a variety in there. So some of them are like the quicker ones, and then some they'll have to like start the tomato seeds inside. So we encourage them to use like recycled containers from their recycling bin, maybe like egg cartons, and then we provide the growing medium so that they can get started on those seeds inside, and then they all come in a reusable recycled bag that they can. Hopefully this year we got the reusable recycled bag so that they could use it as maybe like a grow bag for the potatoes instead of like a bucket if they don't have space outside. So some of our families might not, so then they can use that. And if not, they can use it as like a shopping bag at the farmer's market.
One tip is when you get your seeds, plant them. I had a kit a couple of years. We got a kit I think the first year you did it, we got a kit, and we messed around. We didn't plant ours till late, and we got these puny little things.
Seeds do last. So if you happen to not grow it, I mean, we encourage you to grow it this year, grow along with us, start your garden. But if you happen not to, they will still be good next year, I'm pretty sure. Maybe not the seed potatoes, but everything else should be good.
All right, Patti, the Master Gardeners have a program coming up, so remind us about that program. It's terrific. They give tips, and they do all these educational stuff.
So, yeah, anytime you have an issue, you don't have to just come on April 2nd and ask your questions. You can call our office, and someone will be able to let you know. You can drop off the sample if you have something. It's best if you can bring us a sample of something, whether it's a pest, whether it's a disease on your plants, or even if it's a fruit tree and you have a limb that has a problem, it's better if you are able to bring us a sample. Just describing something that happened last year isn't, as easy to diagnose, and we want to make sure we give you the right information.
So it's April 2nd, Ovid Library, is that right?
That's correct.
All right, and again, it's free, but do sign up just because space is limited. And is there going to be a demonstration garden this year?
Well, we don't actually have a demonstration garden anymore.
Okay.
There is a community garden in Ovid, which is quite popular there. They're trying to maybe get the community garden going again in Seneca Falls, but I'm not sure what stage that's at the moment. But yes.
All right, so April 2nd at the Ovid Library for the Getting Ready for Gardening seminar. Judy, highly pathogenic avian influenza. That does not sound good. It's affecting poultry flocks.
It is. And as the name says, avian is all bird types, whether it's domesticated birds, wild birds. It can affect all of them. The fact that it's highly pathogenic means that it's going to spread to all birds. What's interesting about this virus, and it is a virus, is that it harbors and maintains at low levels in our migrating waterfowl, geese and ducks. And guess who's coming back from their overwintering grounds in the south? And they are bringing this. And what happens with the low part of it is over time it will mutate and become highly pathogenic. And that's where we are now. And the concern is these flocks are coming back, which is great to have them back because it means spring's on its way. But they are bringing this virus with them. And the concern comes for our domesticated poultry, primarily chickens and turkeys and some domestic ducks, that they can be exposed to this primarily through their droppings. And what we're trying to do is get the word out to everyone. The commercial flocks are well aware of this, and they've implemented all their biosecurity measures. But the concern comes with our backyard and hobby flocks, because if you're not thinking about it and you walk out to feed your chickens and the geese have been there and they have been infected with this, and you don't follow proper biosecurity methods, when you walk into the coop, you can transfer it with your shoes or boots, and then your chickens are exposed to it and they become sick.
So what do you need to do? When you talk about biosecurity, do you have to be careful about shoveling up all the droppings and getting them out, or how do you handle it?
So basically, for what we're encouraging backyard folks and hobbyists to do is bring all their chickens inside, and I've been driving around, and there are still poultry outside, but we are encouraging people to bring them in. And when you're going in to feed them, water them, check on them, ideally you would have a change of shoes and actually be able to clean your boots and shoes as you're walking in with soap and water, and then sanitizing with a weak chlorine bleach solution, and then you can go ahead and proceed forward. And then the key too is as you're walking out to do that same process again. So that's a major one. You should restrict access to these houses, coops, runs, wherever the chickens are being housed, to really like 1 or 2 people, and not bring visitors in and that type of thing. So you want to maintain a really clean environment so you're not bringing that virus into your chickens. And the concern comes if your flock does become sick, and it happens quickly, that it be identified within 24 hours, because then unfortunately, the state and federal government get involved whether you have 1 or 2 chickens or you have thousands of chickens, because they want to stop it. Because within 24 hours, they want to identify where it came from. And then there's no vaccine for this. There's no cure. They will work with you to what they politely call depopulate your flock.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, there's a radius around. So if there's other poultry nearby, they too have the potential of being infected and will be depopulated.
What are some of the signs of it in a bird that you look for?
That's a good question. What I've been told is that you will immediately notice that the whole flock or the majority of the flock become weak, lethargic. They may, if there are layers, they may start producing smaller eggs. They'll have diarrhea. A lot of their soft tissues around their eyes, their wattles, their feet will become inflamed. So apparently it's pretty obvious that's something wrong to anyone that is a good carer of their flock. They'll recognize something's wrong. They encourage people when they see something wrong not to wait to contact their veterinarian. Folks can contact Cooperative Extension. If we get a call, we have some protocols to follow through, which basically means reporting it to the state, and they in turn turn it over to the federal government.
And speaking of fowl, coming up on the 24th is the day-old pheasant chick program for people. If you have the appropriate habitat and you want to populate your land with pheasants, you can get these day-old chicks and release them onto the land.
Yeah, this is a great program. It really teaches youth in particular how to raise birds. And the concern actually is that pheasants are part of the avian family, and they too can be exposed to it.
Yeah.
The good part of this is that at least initially, the day-old chicks, as they grow, are inside, and again, should be maintained inside before releasing them. They're actually thinking, and they're speculating, I guess, nobody knows what's going to happen with this, that it could last up to 6 months. So there's some concern about that. But yes, if people are all interested in, especially youth, in participating in the Day-Old Pheasant Chick program, they can register on our website. We are doing it specifically for Seneca County, but other counties are participating, so they'll need to check with their other Cooperative Extension offices to see if they can get chicks there, or people can get chicks right from the DEC farm that raises these chicks into hatchlings.
What kind of habitat do you need and how much?
For the chicks, or after they're raised into adults?
To be able to successfully release them onto your land.
Oh, sure. So you really want to be able to have an area like a coop or a barn initially, because they are day old. You're going to probably, if inevitably the weather turns cold, they should have some type of heat source, whether it should probably be like some type of heat lamp to keep them warm. Certainly you need to be prepared with feed and water. Once they do get old enough, they ask that they be released onto public land, because the reason that we are raising these is to get pheasants out for sport.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't realize that part. So that way they're available to everybody.
Yeah, that's the intent. No, to my knowledge, nobody has come out to say, Ted, you raised 50 pheasant chicks. Where did they go?
Right.
But yeah, so they're really intended to go out into the wild. Pheasants aren't native to this area, but they've been around for so long, and people just enjoy seeing them, and they've become a good sporting bird, which is why they were introduced here. Some of our natural predators out there tend to like pheasant as well over the winter, and it's part of nature.
All right, back to you, Kansas. One of the things that you do is education in the Farm to School program, and we have Ag Literacy Week coming up. So what are we going to be teaching?
Yeah, so next week is National Agriculture Week. So all week long, it's kind of a time to educate not just kids, but people about different aspects of agriculture, where food, fiber, fuel comes from, how it's produced, kind of recognize the value that agriculture brings to the community, the economy, and just really where all of it comes from and that you have in your daily life. And also kind of show not just students, again, but everybody the different and various career opportunities that are related to agriculture, whether that's you're a farmer, you're a farm worker, or you transport the products to a factory, or you produce something else from, say, milk or something into like the cheese and yogurt. So it's a week to kind of just show all that appreciation and educate people. And then so part of that week is Egg Literacy Week. So New York Egg in the Classroom has this Egg Literacy Week where volunteers go into elementary classrooms, and we will read a agricultural themed book and do an hands-on activity that goes along with it. So this year it's actually called Farmer Will Allen and the Growing Table. And so it's a book about community gardens, how to build communities around food, whether that's if you're growing maybe with our seed kits on a porch or you have a garden. And part of the activity is actually vermicomposting. So this year, so we're going to take small little worm bins. So we have a new worm bin in our office. Judy's more the expert on this one. She's got one at home, but we have a new big worm bin in our office, and we got like a pound of the red wiggler worms. And so we're starting that, and we feed them every couple of days and water them and everything. So we're going to actually take little worm bins into the classroom, read the book, and put some worms on the table, let the kids see what they do, and teach them about just how the worms compost and creating healthy soil and being able to grow your own food and kind of just build your community around growing your own food and eating healthy.
And I know we have companies in our area that do this commercially where you can get that compost material.
Oh, yeah. There's many. I know locally there's a couple. There's like one right in Fayette, so that's not too far from here,
Yeah.
Lakeview Mulch. And there's other ones that do like the vermicomposting, I think, in Geneva, but then they do other kinds of composting, several of them around here, that you can get bulk compost if you want to add it to your
Yeah.
garden. You can go to Country Max Tractor Supply as well and get bags of like vermicompost, or you can do it at home and have a little bin yourself, and you can keep it all year long. Especially in the winter, you have like a bin inside that you can do. If you're doing it correctly, Judy can say this, it shouldn't stink. So, if you can keep your bin correctly with your worms and only use the vegetable scraps and maybe eggshells. I don't think worms really enjoy them very much, but they like the fruit and veggies. Don't put any dairy and meat in there. And if you cover them with newspaper, you should be able to keep it inside. And so if you want to try this at home and your kids are kind of like pique their interest with having worms indoors and teaching them about compost, then you can do this right at home too. So.
All right, very good. Thanks to all three of you for what you do and for sharing it with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The website is Seneca, I always get this wrong, SenecaCountyCCE.org for these programs and a whole bunch more. April 2nd for the Gardening Tips Seminar at the Ovid Library. And lots more information there. Inside the FLX is produced by Paul Russo. Also, programming note, the debrief will return next Monday. Josh Durso will join me for the debrief podcast, and we've got some more good ones coming up throughout the week, so be ready for those. And thanks for watching.